Hi guys, Kevin Ellis Jr. here with the Apex Racing Academy with this track guide for Interlagos and the Porsche Cup. So guys, as you come down in towards turn 1, let's get straight into this. Up at the 100 board right here is where you're going to start to apply the brakes here. So as we come right up to the 100, you can see get into brake, obviously from 6th gear, we're going to end up down into 2nd gear for turn 1. Now, while you're slowing the car down, it's very tempting to start moving left and in towards the corner. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can take turn 1, but for me personally, I used this line in PESC and obviously it worked out pretty well. Essentially, when you come in, you want to just match the white line all the way down the straight and all the way into the grass as well. So you can see we're not really moving in, we're keeping it, you know, up at the white line, away up at the top here where it's mostly banked, slowing the car down and then dropping a lot of brake input out of it and turning in, taking quite a late apex. And you can see right before we get to the apex, going to pick up the throttle, up over the bumps, nice and patient. And you can see just as it's landing and settling here, it's still oscillating just a little bit. We're just beginning to apply the throttle there so that by the time it's settled, we're already full power. And we can really start to focus on getting a really good exit out of here to then carry the speed through turn 2. Because obviously the further left you are at turn 1, you can open up turn 2 more, carry more speed. Which you can see through here. I think we just short shift up into 4th coming into here. Yep, so short shift up into 4th, and you want to be quite aggressive up over the inside as well. You want to basically aim for the grass on the inside and just about clip it. But you can see, yeah, the inside tires are just clipping the grass ever so slightly. And if you cut too much, you will get a slowdown, and the car also will lose control. So you don't really want to take too much of this, but this is about as much really as you want to take. I mean, you're basically just aiming to get your left-hand wheels on this white line on the inside here, on the curb, and just straight back to full throttle is basically as soon as you come through that compression. Then keeping it nice and tight to the left, just matching the line of the curb all the way around. Keeping a nice stable trajectory through the corner. And then right around here, it's a little bit hard just with the way the light box is. It makes the track kind of shiny and has this kind of white effect on it. But right around here, the curb begins to change colour, so it's quite darkened around here, just obviously from tyres running over it. And then around here, the paint is still quite light. You try to use that as a reference. So the whole time that we're coming round here, we turn into the left and we just drop a little bit of power out just because you can't quite take this flat out. So we lift just a little bit down to like 75-80%. Just keeping it on the curb the full way through. And then right as this is coming into view, right around here, we're going to get back to full power just before we get to it. You can see as we're coming round, just about to full throttle. That comes into view, we're comfortably full throttle, and that's also your point that you know you've made the corner, you can just begin to track out onto the curbing on the outside, which you can see you can take a big chunk of this as well. I think any more than the exhausts over this bit, you're going to start risking an off track, but this right here is absolutely fine. Obviously back on before the grass, and then in towards turn 4, you can see that the white line sort of travels in the way and then shoots straight, so it's not like a stable straight line into turn 4. So you want to essentially line your car up with this white line up here. You don't really want to worry about this white line too much, you want to more line it up way further up the road. So as you come in, looking at the 100 board, again, nice and slow to threshold, and then just try and match this white line on the outside, which you can see we're right out at the grass, looking towards the inside, down into 3rd gear, and you want to aim for a really early apex at turn 4, because once you get up here, it's a nice smooth bit of curbing up here, it will make the landing a lot better. And you can see just how aggressive we are, right up over the inside here. Now, if you try and apex too late or you don't carry enough curb on the inside, as it comes off this curb, it's going to bounce, which you can see here. Get a nice smooth landing off that curb. Nice and aggressive up over the inside. So you really want to aim for the apex, like right at the grass, just before the access road on the inside, and then right as you come up that curb as well, you're also going to pick up throttle at the same time, just to shift the weight to the back, start that acceleration process, and really make use of that the rotation that the car's going to give you here. And obviously nice and early back to full throttle as well. We can see we're full throttle away back here. Then on the exit, just watch the off track again. If you go a little bit too wide there, of course you'll get an off track. Then up the hill and towards turn 6. This is a bit of a tough corner. There's not really any obvious braking zones into here. From here, it might be quite hard to spot on the recording, but there's like 2 very, very faint black marks on the track here. You can also use this Marshall post off to the left. I know a lot of people like to use that, but for me it's just a little bit far out my vision. But you can see just as it's going out of shot, we're beginning to apply the brakes. So for all intents and purposes, we'll probably use this just to talk about it. But there's also a very faint mark right around here You see this sort of darker patch just up here. That's more or less where I'm looking at braking. It's just right as I come over the top of that. Now you've also got a choice to use third or fourth. I personally just prefer to use fourth. Just keep it in the slightly higher gear. And here you're going to want to take a double apex. So we're going to clip this first curb nice and early on the inside, but carry enough speed through so that it washes out naturally to the middle of the track. And then right before you get to this green or blue on the inside, you want to pick up the throttle nice and early. And obviously because it's such a cool track time, you can see how early we're going to pick up the power here. I mean, it's basically come past the end of this curb. We're beginning to pick the throttle up, and it's just a case of trying to use the throttle to manipulate the diff just to get the car to rotate so that you match this curb here at a nice angle as well and you don't catch it wrong. If you catch the start of it here, it's going to shoot you left or shoot the car straight. And obviously you don't want that. You want to just catch the nice smooth transition on the inside, and then just as you're coming up over the crest, you're just about getting to full throttle, and then nice and early on the brakes. It's really tempting to brake deep into here, and there isn't really much of a braking marker here either. Like I don't really have anything that I look out for. It's more sort of as I come across the top of this crest and I get onto the curb, I just start applying the brakes nice and smooth down into second gear, and then taking a nice shallow line to the inside. And you really want to cut a lot of this inside out as well. You can see this is grass right here, but this is all AstroTurf that you can drive onto, or painted concrete with or whatever you want to call it. You can drive straight onto this. You can see we make full use of on the inside, and again we're nice and early to that power as well. We get the car stopped, and then up to 25, 30, 40% throttle just to start getting that rotation. And as we wind the lock out, obviously gradually applying the steering in, or gradually opening the lock as we apply the throttle. And it's also not too important either to keep it tight on exit. You can absolutely wash out a bit so you're quite shallow into here. So you want to take a nice early apex into here and really use this to rotate the car. Now on the specific lap, this was the only real corner that I wasn't fully happy with. Normally you want to take this amount on the inside to get right up onto this section right here. Just clip this section and then just keep your left hand wheels tight to the inside here, but you can see we just drifted just a little bit wide. We carried a little bit too much speed into here. It's only a couple kph, but it was enough just to obviously see the car kind of wash out past that white line. But you really do just want to try and trail it in as deep as you can, and then pick up the throttle as early as you can. And then on the exit here, there's a bit of a, again, similar to turn 3, where the curb changes colour from kind of darkened to nice and painted on the inside. That's kind of your marker. You should be full throttle before you get to there. So you can see we're nice and aggressive up to throttle, and up to 100 just before we go past the curb on the inside. Then with that, just track it right out on the exit. You don't need to worry about trying to get back over to the left, because the next corner, there's a bit of a kink that you can use just to take the shorter route, and you can still get the line for the next right-hander, because it's not really paramount to be out wide, which we'll obviously go into here. So on the exit here, don't be afraid just to use all this curb right out to the grass. Use every last inch that you can, and then coming through here, just keep it tight to the inside. I see a lot of people try and, tap this curb and then start moving away over here and try and, go way around the outside. There's absolutely no need. Just keep it tight to the right hand side. Get as close to this grass as you can, and then use this as your braking marker. Right here is going to be where you're going to be looking for braking into this next corner. So there you can see we're just coming up to the start of it, and there we are just beginning to brake. And then obviously you just want to brake in a straight line. Allows you to brake later. It's more efficient, and you're still going to end up, on the racing line. Being away out here, there's no real need. The corners, obviously, as you can see, is banked, so it's going to naturally pull you in. And all the way out there isn't as much banking as you'd really think, and you can't carry enough speed through the corner to really justify it. So you just take the shorter line in, brake in a straight line. You can brake just a little bit later again, and then just nice and patient on the way off the brakes, just trailing as deep as you can until you get to the apex, and then plant it right up to 75%, and you can be really aggressive up to 100 as well. Now out here you do want to open up quite a bit, but again not right out to the grass. There's no real need to be all the way out here, but as long as you can get out to roughly this groove on the track here, this black line, as long as you can get the right hand tyres over that and start getting it turned down just to keep as much throttle on as possible through here, and use this curb on the inside to help rotate the car as well. You can see here we're upwards of 65-70% throttle the whole way through here. Just to keep the speed up, keep the car rotating. Then on the exit, don't be afraid to use this curbing on the outside. I think the middle of the car over here, it will pick up an off track, and then into this final corner. use as much of this as you can. I'm aiming to brake right here, right at this kind of darkened patch in the Astro out here. Start braking on that, down into second gear, or sorry, down into third gear. I keep it in third here, and then just extend the entry as much as you can. Give you a straight line for the exit, and you can carry that up the hill. So you can see we're right out onto the blue on the outside. A lot of guys make a mistake, don't think you can run out there. You absolutely can. Just keep it in third, trailing all the way into the apex, and then picking up the throttle right before you get to the apex. And again, due to the low track temp here, there's a lot of grip. You can be nice and aggressive back to power, straight up to 75, and then a kind of gradual up to 100. Now on the exit here, you don't want to be out over this bit. You typically will just automatically lose about half a tenth. As soon as you come out here, it will just kill your run. But you can see we're right on the edge of it there, the right rear just over the edge of it, but we just kept it in the line as best we could. And then of course up the hill, just keep it reasonably tight to the inside. There's no real need to do anything special up here. Don't want to keep it too tight that you start scrubbing speed, but you don't want to be away out here somewhere. Just keep it nice and smooth, just a nice realistic line to obviously take the shortest route, but not scrub too much speed. And then with that, across the line. So that's a lap of Interlagos, guys. Hopefully you guys found this informative and useful. As always, Apex Racing Academy Discord for any kind of questions. We'll get back to you on there. But with that, guys, best of luck this week.